Hello everybody, my name is Victor Bravo and I'm with Lithia Subaru of Fresno, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm making this video for you so that way you have an excellent idea of what it takes to go in and buy a car. I want to talk to you about credit. Sometimes people have bad credit, some people don't have any credit, and sometimes people are just first-time buyers and they need to buy a car and they have a bunch of questions. The purpose of this video is to break all that stuff down so that way you feel prepared, you feel educated, you're not vulnerable when you go into the dealership, and you don't have to worry about anybody taking all of your hard-earned money. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Thanks. Make sure you like this video. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below, and also subscribe and share it if you can. It helps us out and we would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk about credit and how it works and why it works the way it does and why we are forced to be in debt in order to have a credit score so that way we can buy things that we can't afford. So basically the way it works is there's 3 credit bureaus. There's TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And each one of them are going to give you a score. So a lot of times you're going to hear the word FICO throughout your life when you're buying things. What the FICO is that's the middle score of the 3. So let me give you an example. If you have one score through TransUnion that is a 720, and then you have an Experian score that is a 680, and let's say your Equifax score is 650. Your FICO score is the 680 because it's not the highest, it's not the lowest, it's right in the middle. So when you're buying a house and stuff like that, that's what they'll go off of, is the FICO score. But when buying a car, most banks are going to go off of the TransUnion Bureau. So based on those 3 scores, depending on what your scores are, because everybody's different. Everybody has different jobs, different incomes, different work histories. They've been at their place for a certain amount of times. A lot of people think like, oh, my credit score is the most important thing. But when buying a big purchase or making a big purchase, you got to think of like your credit score as like if you're thinking about baking a cake, think of the credit score like the eggs. It's not the most important part, but it is an important part. The other factors is how long have you been at your house? How long have you been at your job? How much money do you make? These are all important factors as well. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. So if you're above a 700 score, then that means you are tier A. So you have A paper credit, you are credit worthy, people know that they can trust you with money, with loaning you money. So between around 680 to 700, that's like right around tier 2. You're still good. They know that you're going to pay back. You already have a history of paying back money. You're responsible with money. Between 650 and 680, that's where you're tier 3. In tier 3, that just means like, it's kind of shaky. Anything below 650, you're considered tier 4, and anything under 600 is, you got bad credit, pretty much. So when you do have bad credit, that means that for a bank to loan you money, it's going to be riskier for them. So by it being more riskier, they're going to charge you more money. So depending on what your credit score is will determine what kind of interest the bank is going to charge you for borrowing the money from them. So think about it like this. Let's say you are a 700 score person or 700 plus, and you have excellent credit. Then you're probably going to get somewhere, if you're buying a used car, you're probably going to get somewhere between 3, 4, 5% depending on the age and the miles of the car. If you're buying a brand new car, 700 or plus, you're going to automatically qualify for 0% interest, which is always the goal. Because when you can borrow free money, that's always best for you because you're not spending extra money going out on top of the money that you're paying to your payment to bring down the principal of your loan. Now, keep in mind, too, that there is no prepayment penalty in California. You can always pay off a loan early. And by doing that, that'll save you money and you paying less interest to the bank. So keep that in the back of your mind. Also, another cool thing to think about, too, is when buying a car, one of the things that you can do to automatically protect yourself, if you have decent credit to good credit, go to the bank and get pre-approved on your own before you step foot into a dealership. By doing that, it's going to give you more control of how the deal goes down. It's going to give you more buying power because you are already pre-approved. The dealership already knows that a bank has approved you, so you have the money. You just got to find the car, and that's a good position to be in. Now, when you don't have the best credit and you don't have money down, that's where it gets tricky, and that's where it gets really tough, and it's hard to get people financed because you've already proven that you can't pay back money. So I know that's a hard pill to swallow and it sucks and you don't want to hear that, but if you have a 540 credit score, that means that in the bank's eyes, you're not a reliable person to loan money to because the chances of them getting that money back is slim to none. So what do? They charge you a really high interest rate. So let's say if you're getting charged 20%, for every dollar, 20 pennies of that money, 20 pennies of that dollar is going straight to the bank's pocket, and only 80 cents is going to bring down the principal of your loan. So the more money that you can get that you pay on your monthly payment to the bank that goes to the principal of your loan is going to bring that down faster. You pay it off quicker, then you get your pink slip even that much more faster. So, and the banks also understand that bad things happen to good people. You know, a lot of times I hear this, I've been selling cars for almost 7 years now, and I hear all the time, like, man, I used to be a 750 credit score, I was an 800 credit score, I had 740 credit score, and this happened, I got into an accident, I couldn't work, I couldn't pay my bills, I maxed out all my credit cards, now I'm a 540. But those people, you people, that's who I'm talking to. When you're going to start reestablishing your credit, and let's say if you did have a cosigner, it always works best, and I'm just talking about here in California because I'm not sure where other states are, but when more banks will take a cosigner that lives at the same address. If the cosigner and the applicant with bad credit live in the same town but at different addresses, they're going to go off of, you're going to get rated off of the person with the bad credit score if they don't live together. So when looking for a cosigner, it's best if you do it with somebody that lives with you. Okay. Now, I don't want you to think that, I'm just co-signing for him, so it's not my responsibility. I'm just the co-signer. No, that's completely a wrong way of thinking about it. If you co-sign for somebody, or if you ask somebody to co-sign for you, just know that you're asking for a huge favor. A huge favor, because there's nothing more important in America than credit. And if you ask somebody to do that, respect them. Respect them enough to know that you're going to do everything you can to make that payment, and then refinance that car as soon as you can, so that way you can take that person off, get them off the hook. They've already served their purpose. They got you your car, and then now you're in a much better position to do things on your own. And you never want to tie up somebody's credit for 6 or 7 years. Don't do that to your friends and family. Okay, so let's talk about if you have 0 to no credit. You're gonna need a down payment. Okay, banks, and this is the reason why, because the way the bank looks at it, and if you look at it the way the bank looks at it, it'll be a lot more clear for you. So they look at it as if the more skin in the game that you have, the more money that you're pulling out of your pocket and putting into the deal, the less likely you are just to walk away from making that payment, because you don't, let me give you an example. I'm looking at a $20,000 car. I have $5,000 down. That's, a quarter down, 25% down. And the likelihood of me walking away from $5,000 is minimal, because who wants to walk away from $5,000? That's pain. That's ouch. That hurts. So they know that the more money that you have down, the more likely you are to make the loan and to continue making your payments. So, but what happens if you don't have $5,000 down, or you don't have 25% down? So that way you're in an equity position. What an equity position is, where you have financed less than what the car's worth. So that means the car's worth more than the amount that you have financed. So car's worth $20,000, you're only financing 15. That's what I mean by in an equity position. So when you're in an equity position, the bank is going to charge you less of an interest rate. So let's say if you don't have the full $5,000, but manufacturers offer incentives, they offer rebates, they offer arm twisters to get you in to go buy that car. So let's say if you go to the Ford store and you're looking at a $20,000 Focus and there's a $3,000 rebate and you got $2,000, well, guess what? That $3,000 rebate acts as your down payment. So that's how the bank sees it. So you have a $5,000 down payment. Keep that in mind, because you may need to buy a car that has rebates to get you qualified. I always recommend that to my friends and family, if they're going to go buy a car and I can't go with them, and they want a brand that's other than the brand that I sell, is to go in there with an open mind, because most desk managers will know what the right car is for your particular situation, what car to buy. So let me give you an example and let me kind of share with you what I mean by that. Let's say in the back of your head you want a Chevy Malibu, and it's drilled in your brain. All I want is a Chevy Malibu. I want a Chevy Malibu. I want a Chevy Malibu. And then you go into a dealership, and then they say, okay, well, you don't qualify for that Chevy Malibu, but here is a Toyota Camry that the bank will finance you on, and this would be your rate, and this and that. You may have to go for that Toyota Camry. Why? Because Camrys will hold their value longer. Maybe the Camry had less miles on it. Maybe the dealer had more profit in that car. They could discount it more. A lot of times you don't know this, but a dealer will have to pay a bank fee in order to get you financed. So let's say that in order for the bank to give the loan to you, the dealer has to pay a $900 bank fee. So if the dealership is maxed out in their gross profit on the Chevy Malibu that you wanted originally, but they have this much profit in that car, in the Toyota Camry, then they're going to switch you from that car to that car to make the deal work. And sometimes you might have to be flexible in order just to get a car. Now, remember, this isn't going to be your first car or your last car or your only car you're ever going to buy. It's a means to an end. So when you're in this situation, you may have to settle. But remember, once you get on that track and you get your car loan, then that's immediately when you have to make your payments consistently on time every time. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. Now, there's three bureaus that we were talking about before, right? There's TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. By law, each one of those bureaus have to report to, or the bank has to report to those three bureaus that you either made your payment late, you made your payment on time, or you didn't make your payment at all. So at least make those payments consistently for 1 year, because by doing that, you're going to get a minimum of 4 ratings that you've made your payments on time every time. If they rate you every single month, then it's just going to help you even more. So that's when you can either sell that car, trade it in for another one, refinance it, lower your interest, and then the sky's the limit from there. But you need to start somewhere. We are talking about setting a budget and why it's important for you to set a budget before you go into a dealership, so that way you're not buying anything or forced into buying something that you can't afford, and that way you're not set up to fail again. So let's talk about setting up a budget. The rule of thumb is for every $1,000 that you finance, it's $20 in payment per month. So a $5,000 car loan is going to be $100 a month. A $10,000 car loan is $200 a month. A $15,000 car loan is $300 a month. And a $20,000 car loan is $400 a month. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That formula is based off of a 10% interest rate at a 60-month term. So if you wanted a $20,000 car, but you didn't want to pay $400, you can see if you qualify for a 72-month loan, and that will bring down your payment to right around $350 or so, depending on the rate that you get qualified for. So having said that, one thing that you need to consider is that if you're wanting a car that's really inexpensive, you can't finance less than a $5,000 car loan. Now, that's just here in California. If you were to take out a personal loan and buy a car, that's different. But through a car dealership, the minimum that you can pay for a car and get a car loan is $5,000. So just keep that in the back of your mind. A lot of people think like, oh, the less expensive the car, the easier it is going to be qualified for. And that's not the case either. So if you're a first-time buyer, or if you have bad credit, and let's say your average income is $20,000 to $30,000 a year, you're probably going to want, the bank's probably going to want to see you around a $15,000 car. So that way you can build up your credit, you can reestablish credit, show the banks that, and show the bureaus that you can pay back your monthly payments consistently. And then while you're doing that, your credit's going to go up, and while your credit's going up, that means your ability to qualify for a loan at a less interest, so a less expensive loan for you, is going to be higher. So, and that's the goal, is to get you to where you can qualify for a 0% loan. Okay, let's talk about shotgunning credit. Where's my shotgun? Yeah, here. Shotgunning credit. That's what the banks, that's what the dealerships will do. So when you go into the dealer and the salesperson asks you, hey, let's do your credit app so we can figure out where you're at, make sure that he understands and explain to him that I do not want to be shotgunned. Go in there and tell your manager that I do not want to be shotgunned. Because okay, so let's talk about what shotgun means. What shotgun means is they submit you fill out your credit application, they go take it to their desk manager, the desk manager sends it out to a bank, That's what normally would happen if you have really good credit, maybe 2 banks. But when people don't have the best credit, what they'll do is they'll send it out to 15 banks. They'll send it out to 20 banks. They'll send it out to 25 banks. And what does that do? Then you're going to, because each one of those banks is going to check your credit. In each one of those banks, it's going to show as a hard inquiry on your credit bureau. The more hard inquiries you have on your credit bureau, it drops your score, it plummets your score. So do yourself a favor, when you do the credit application, if you don't get pre-approved ahead of time and you walk into a dealership, make sure your sales professional knows, don't shotgun my credit. Okay, so for my last and my final tip, this is a big one, okay? This is going to save you a lot of time and it's going to save you a lot of money. So if you have a $20,000 loan, that's at a 10% interest rate and it's a 72-month term. If you make one extra payment per quarter, so what I mean by that is every 3 months, you make one extra payment. On the 3rd month, instead of making a $300 payment, you make a $600 payment. That could be a little hard for people, especially if you're tight on your budget. So what a lot of my smart clients do is they'll take that $300, that monthly payment, and they'll divide it by 3. So because there's $100 per month, right? So if you take that $300 divided by 3, you take that extra $100, and instead of making a $300 payment, you make a $400 payment. And by doing that, you're going to cut your term, your interest in half. So you'll, instead of paying off that car in 72 months, paying the full amount of interest that the bank's going to collect off of you, you're going to slice that right in half. You're going to have that car paid off in 36 months. And not only that, but instead of paying 10% in interest, you're only going to pay 5%. And that saves you more money. And that more money, you can redirect that and use it for whatever you want. A nice vacation, maintenance on your car, new roof, whatever. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you learned something. If you did, please like my video, share it, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment box below, and I'll do my best to answer all of your questions. If you're in the market for a car, you can always DM me on Instagram, message me on Facebook, email me at vbravo@lithia.com. My phone number is area code 559-260-0793. That'll be down here below. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you. If you need anything, just reach out to me. Enjoy your day.